Stand right where you are. Lift one foot off the floor. Time yourself. Now here's what nobody tells you. Whatever number you just got wasn't random. I learned that watching my father lose his footing. The real question isn't whether balance changes after 60. It's this: which one of your 3 balance systems is already falling behind? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll know exactly how to find out and what you can start doing about it. I'm Atlas Reed, and this is Still Standing After 60. If you're committed to staying independent, strong, and steady for decades to come, subscribe. You belong here. Point 1. Most men don't think about balance until after something has already happened. You feel steady. You feel like the same man who never thought twice about stepping off a curb, climbing a ladder, or reaching for something on a high shelf without grabbing onto anything. Then one day, without warning, you catch yourself putting a hand on a wall. You steady yourself against a door frame. You hesitate before stepping onto wet pavement. It feels sudden. It wasn't. I watched a stronger man than me lose his footing on a bathroom floor. He didn't trip over anything. He wasn't reckless. He simply reached for a towel rail that wasn't where he remembered it being. By the time his hand found empty space, his balance had already made the decision for him. That moment changed how I understood aging, because balance isn't one thing your body does. It's 3 separate systems working together every second without you ever noticing. Your vestibular system inside your inner ear constantly tells your brain which way is up. Your vision tracks the environment and helps predict movement. And your proprioceptive system, the thousands of tiny sensors in your muscles, joints, ankles, and feet, constantly reports exactly where your body is positioned in space. Your brain combines all 3 streams of information hundreds of times every second. As long as they agree, you never think about balance. But those systems don't all age at the same speed. One may weaken quietly in your 50s. Another may begin slowing in your 60s. Your body compensates so well that you never notice. Think about a 3-legged stool. If one leg becomes slightly shorter, the stool still stands. You shift your weight without realizing it. If a second leg begins to shorten, you compensate even more. Everything still feels normal. It's only when the 3rd leg can no longer make up the difference that the stool suddenly tips over. From the outside, it looks like it happened overnight. In reality, the instability had been building for years. Balance works exactly the same way. It doesn't disappear all at once. It declines one system at a time. At 61, I watched my father, a man who had been physically capable his entire life, fall on wet tile reaching for support that wasn't there. That wasn't simply bad luck. Research consistently shows that balance depends on 3 interacting systems: vestibular, visual, and proprioceptive. Each one can decline quietly for years before the first fall finally exposes what's already been happening underneath. So if every man experiences these changes with age, why do some men lose their balance much earlier than others? Take ladder falls, changing a light bulb, cleaning gutters, trimming branches. Simple household jobs most men over 60 continue doing without giving them much thought. Yet somewhere between 81 and 89% of ladder fall injuries treated in emergency departments involve men. That doesn't necessarily mean men are more careless. It means many continue performing physically demanding tasks without ever training the balance systems those tasks depend on. Bone health tells a similar story. Only about 2% of men with osteoporosis receive a diagnosis before suffering a fracture. 2%. For nearly everyone else, the broken bone becomes the diagnosis. The underlying problem had been developing quietly for years. Balance often follows exactly the same pattern. It's rarely checked during a routine physical examination, not because it isn't important, simply because it usually isn't part of standard screening. Your blood pressure gets measured almost every visit. Your cholesterol is monitored. Blood sugar is tested. But when was the last time someone asked you to stand on one leg for 10 seconds? For most men, never. And there's another pattern researchers repeatedly observe. Men are consistently less likely than women to participate in structured balance training programs before a fall occurs. Ironically, the very group facing the highest injury rates is often the least likely to use interventions shown to reduce that risk. So the odds become stacked in 2 different ways. The screening often doesn't happen, and the preventive training often doesn't happen either. Which raises an obvious question. If nobody is checking this, how do you know where your own balance actually stands before a ladder or a slippery bathroom floor answers that question for you? Fortunately, there's a simple assessment used in physical therapy research that almost anyone can perform safely at home. Stand beside a sturdy countertop or table, lift one foot slightly off the floor, then simply see how long you can maintain your balance without touching down or grabbing support. That's it. The entire assessment takes less than 30 seconds. Research has consistently associated the ability to stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds with a meaningfully lower risk of future falls. If you're below that mark, it isn't just a feeling anymore. It's an objective measurement showing that one or more of your balance systems may need attention. Most men are surprised by their result. Some discover they're much steadier than expected. Others realize they've been compensating for years without knowing it. But the number itself isn't the solution. It simply tells you where you are today. It doesn't reveal whether the weakness comes primarily from your vestibular system, your visual system, or your proprioceptive system, and it certainly doesn't explain how to strengthen each one in a structured, progressive way over the coming months. The encouraging news is this. The systems that decline quietly can often be trained, not overnight, not through random stretches or generic senior exercise videos that treat everyone exactly the same, but through targeted exercises designed to challenge each balance system individually while improving how they work together. That's exactly what we cover step by step inside Still Standing After 60. Where each system is broken down, assessed, and trained with practical progressions you can safely build into your routine. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you're watching on television, there's a QR code on the screen right now that you can scan with your phone. Because the goal isn't simply to avoid falling, it's to stay confident climbing stairs, walking on uneven ground, getting out of the shower, carrying groceries, playing with grandchildren, living independently. The sooner you identify which one is falling behind, the sooner you can start rebuilding it. Here's the part that should completely change the way you think about balance after 60. Those three systems aren't simply declining with age. They're trainable. And there is solid research behind every part of that. You don't have to take it on faith. One structured exercise program built specifically around improving balance and lower body strength has been tested across multiple randomized controlled trials. The results are remarkably consistent. Participants experienced approximately a 23 to 40% reduction in falls. When researchers analyzed men separately, the reduction associated with the program was even greater, close to 39%. Those aren't marketing numbers. They aren't supplement claims. They aren't promises made in a 30-second social media clip. They're measured outcomes from people in your age group performing structured, repeatable exercises over time. But here's what most balance videos never explain. Not all balance exercises train the same system. Standing on one leg while brushing your teeth may challenge one part of your balance. Walking heel to toe may challenge another. Strengthening your hips and legs targets something different again. If you don't know which of your three balance systems is actually falling behind, you can spend months faithfully working on your balance without meaningfully improving the area that's limiting you most. It's like replacing perfectly good tires when the real problem is your brakes. Effort matters, but direction matters even more. So let's try another simple assessment right now. Sit in a sturdy chair, cross your arms over your chest. Without using your hands or pushing off the armrest, stand all the way up. Now sit back down under control. Repeat that movement as many times as you comfortably can in 30 seconds. This is known as the 30-second chair stand test, and it's widely used by physical therapists to evaluate lower body strength and functional mobility. For most men between 60 and 74 years old, completing roughly 12 to 19 repetitions falls within the typical range. Whether your score is above, below, or somewhere in the middle, you've just learned something objective about your body. Not how you feel, not how old you are, how your legs actually perform today. And that's information you can build on. That number you just measured is really the entire point of today's conversation. Balance was never simply about getting older. It's about understanding which of three specific systems is quietly changing and whether you're doing anything intentional to strengthen it. Think back to that three-legged stool. It never collapses because of one bad afternoon. It tips because each leg became just a little weaker over a long period of time. There simply isn't enough stability left to recover. My father didn't lose his footing because he suddenly became old. He lost it because no one had ever shown him which of his balance systems needed attention before the bathroom floor forced the issue. That doesn't have to be your story. You're not simply managing decline. You're still shaping the years ahead. The version of yourself at 68, 75, 82 is being built by the decisions you make now. Will you still be able to kneel on the floor with your grandchildren and stand back up confidently? Will you climb stairs without hesitation? Will you carry groceries, travel, work in the yard, and move through life without constantly thinking about falling? Those outcomes outcomes aren't guaranteed, but they're influenced every day by what you choose to train. The choice is still yours. It just won't make itself. If there's one idea I hope you remember from today's video, it's this. Your balance isn't failing overnight. It's been quietly asking for your attention for years. Most men simply were never shown how to answer. That's exactly why I created Still Standing After 60, the complete independent system. Not another collection of random exercises, not generic advice. A step-by-step system that helps you identify which of your 3 balance systems needs the most work, how to assess it, and how to train it using methods supported by research, including programs associated with up to a 40% reduction in fall risk. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you're watching on your television, simply scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. Remember this, time is the one thing that keeps moving whether you act or not. These systems can improve, but they generally become more difficult to retrain the longer they go without attention. Waiting doesn't preserve your options. It quietly reduces them. If you want practical, research-based training designed specifically for men over 60 who intend to stay strong, capable, and independent, subscribe. We publish a new video every week, and everyone is built with that single goal in mind. I'm Atlas Reed. Until next time, keep doing the work.